Before I start talking about Planet of the Apes, the magazine, I thought I should have a little video where I talk about Planet of the Apes itself. If you want a sneak peek at the magazine, Michael K. Vaughan just posted a video today that you probably want to check out. Let's start with Planet of the Apes itself. Michael K. Vaughan was showing off, pointing out that in 1974 he was 3 years old. That's when the magazine came out. So I was older than that. Let's just say my first movie-going memory involved the first Planet of the Apes film. That movie came out in 1968, and I was 2 years old. So my family went to see that movie at the drive-in in late 1969, like in the autumn, at a place called the Highway Theater, just outside of Marion, Indiana. And I know you're gonna see like 3 years old, it was 3, almost 4. And, but those are my earliest movie memories, are scenes from that film. And I loved Planet of the Apes. We went back to the drive-in and saw Beneath. And I saw every Apes movie except for Battle at the drive-in. Battle for the Planet of the Apes, the final film in that original franchise, I actually didn't see until it was on television, which was heartbreaking. But I was Apes obsessed. As a kid, I had the Mego toys, all the figures. I had the Treehouse playset that Mego had. I had the piggy banks shaped like Galen and Zaius. I had posters and fanzines and all the novelizations, and I loved Planet of the Apes beyond all reckoning. There's a kid that I went to school with. His name was Eric Reeves. I guess it still is. But he is the artist on High and Lois, if you read the Sunday strips. His dad was a phenomenal artist. And so I would go hang out at Eric's when we were in grade school, and his dad would always be like, "Hey, well, you want me to draw you something?" And I, why, yes, would you draw me a picture of General Urko? Or, hey, how about a picture of Cornelius? And he was always more than happy to oblige. And so I had a nice little scrapbook where, and don't hate me for this, so when the magazine first came out, me and another friend, Gary Adams, I know you're out there somewhere, we would sit down with those magazines and cut out pictures, and we would glue them into the scrapbook that we were building that was Planet of the Apes obsessed. We took the trading cards and glued them into the scrapbook. We, it wasn't very bright. So we, if we'd hung on to that stuff, but that's neither here nor there. But let's go back to the first film, which is written by Rod Serling. Like I said, it came out in 1968. Had an amazing cast: Charlton Heston, Kim Hunter, Roddy McDowall, Maurice Evans. I mean, it was just a who's who of Hollywood royalty to me, right? So I was already a big Roddy McDowall fan from horror flicks, and I continue to be a McDowall fan his entire career. He just did the kind of stuff that I just loved. But the film itself was oddly paced. And so when you first enter it, you're in the forbidden zone, as the astronauts escape the spacecraft that has landed on this alien world. And it's a really slow reveal until you first see the apes themselves. And then it's such a shocking moment. And as a little kid, you're taken aback. And it was just amazing. And just the set dressing and everything about it was just gorgeous. It was just a brilliant film from beginning to end. I loved, the amazing reveal at the end when Taylor, who probably should have figured it out long before then, but when he realizes that he's on Earth in the future and they've blown it all up. Now, as far as the rest of the franchise goes, I liked Beneath quite a bit. I think them not being able to pull in Heston for more of the film hurt it somewhat, but in subsequent viewings, it really grew on me, and I just loved it. The next film, Escape from the Planet of the Apes, where we learned that Cornelius and Zira and one of their chimpanzees compatriots were able to get Taylor's ship operational and escape the planet before it exploded in Beneath, and they went back in time to 1970s Earth. And that was just a lot of fun. Fish out of water, just a really good story, and fun, a little more lighthearted than the Apes franchise had been up to that point. But yeah, I really enjoyed it. And then you had Conquest, which is a bit rushed, right? So they make a really odd leap about dogs and cats dying, and so we bring in apes to, fulfill that pet-like role, but then being, more intelligent and more useful, they become basically slave labor. And then we see them rise up and revolt thanks to the offspring of Cornelius and Zira, who takes the name of Caesar. And so he liberates ape kind. And that leads us to what many feel is the worst movie in the franchise, Battle for the Planet of the Apes, which, as I said, I saw that on television the first time at my grandparents' house. I remember it vividly, being glued to the TV, and I like it. I don't care what you say. Does it have problems? Yes. But Claude Akins as General Aldo, fun. I wish the movie could have been longer. I wish we could have had more of a connection between Caesar and his son. That would have made the weight of what comes later mean more. But I don't have all the. Obviously, it had a much lower budget, but I love the way it ties back into the original movies of the franchise. And you get that direct connection to Beneath and the mutants living under the city, and it just makes it all a nice circle. And I just loved it. And then there was a television series, ran for half a season basically, which was just brilliant. They brought in Roddy McDowall to play Galen, which is a very Cornelius-like character, although he's younger, he's more less reserved, more adventurous, and the actors playing the humans, they were great, and Mark Leonard, and he and Maurice Evans, as Urko and Zaius, were just, oh my goodness, they were great. Particularly Mark Leonard's Urko. But yeah, they're just a wonderful series that had just amazing possibilities, and it just died too soon. So Look, that's all I have for you today. Be sure to watch Michael K. Vaughan's video where he talks about the first issue of the Planet of the Apes magazine. He shows off some really cool things that he has. And I'll be back here later to discuss the magazine and what it meant to me. We'll talk about Plug's art, which was phenomenal on Terror on the Planet of the Apes, which I think is just an amazing addition to the series, to the whole mythos of Planet of the Apes. And who knows, I may have some other things to show off. Some items have made their way down through the decades. I still have them, and maybe, just maybe, you'll get to see them soon.